Hi, I'm Dr. A.B. Mendelsohn. Gender-affirming surgery is so much more than just a medical procedure. It's a result of personal journey, resilience, and transformation. We would like to learn directly from gender-diverse individuals as they share their experiences, challenges, and hopes. As such, we present their voices. Welcome to episode 1 of Their Voices. Today we welcome in Baeleigh, who will share her journey as well as her experiences with vocal feminization surgery.
All right.
Baeleigh, welcome to
Hello.
Their Voices.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us today.
No, thank you guys for doing this.
Are you kidding me? This is so exciting.
I love it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, again, just as a brief overview, we're just going to kind of just have a little chat about you.
Okay.
And maybe we'll get into a little bit of your experiences. And so I think there's just a great message for so many people out there.
I think
Okay.
so. Yeah. Let's do it.
All right. So let's start with our first question.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, that's where we should start.
Yeah.
Is number one.
I think it's
Yes.
always an appropriate place to start.
Yeah.
Okay. So specifically,
Yes.
I want you to try to tell us your story,
Mm-hmm.
but focusing on really when your gender identity didn't match with what others expected of you.
Yes. So I was a big theater kid and I was into speech and debate and performing arts, and my voice didn't match when I was in like elementary school and middle school, and I realized it. And then the internet came out and I was like,
Wasn't that
there's
fun?
words for things that I am. And then I sort of just lived with it and tried to like compress it as much as I could. And then in my late 20s, I just said, screw it. And then was going to do it.
Just jumped in.
Yeah. But it was like early. It was pretty early that I realized like something didn't line up and didn't add up. And I played all the tough sports and I was a bro. Like I was a NorCal bro for years. And then now I'm this. So
It just didn't make sense.
didn't make sense. No, it didn't line up.
You're awesome. It's like it's amazing. So, obviously everyone's journey and transition is so unique and so wonderful. In that process of transition, can you maybe describe one of the more joyous times that you had?
Ooh. Can I give you two?
Yeah,
Okay.
he was better than me.
The first one, which is the first time you get gendered correctly in public, was it was just because you don't even, it's just such a small thing. Someone was like, ma'am, and I'm like, oh, well, I am that. That is me.
Like, you're talking to me. This
Yeah.
Is,
It's like, I like looked around and I was like, there's no other ma'am. Like, it's gotta be me. And then the first one, I sobbed after I spoke for the first time. I hadn't spoken for a couple weeks after
weeks.
recovery.
Yep.
And then I was just like, that can't be me. And then I sneezed and then I was like, oh, that was just a shock too. I didn't know it changed.
Oh my goodness, I love it. And I want to get into that because so many of what people focus on regarding vocal femme surgery is obviously the spoken voice and maybe the singing voice, but that sneeze.
The sneeze and the coughs were the big ones.
Right?
And yeah, it was like, I can't explain it. It was so shocking. I almost called you guys in the middle of the night because I was like, I thought I was broken.
We would have taken that call.
I was like, I'm pretty sure this isn't how it's supposed to go. It just sounded so different. And like I had this hulking, loud, boyish, crazy, muscular, butch cough and
Right.
sneeze before. And then now it's not. And it was just awesome.
Yeah, I mean, when we think about how people understand who you are, obviously they're taking up so many clues based on how you look, which is, by the way, fantastic.
Oh, thank you. Wasn't fishing for it, but I will
but
take
we'll
it.
just take it. It's always nice. They're taking cues on what they hear, but when there's so much pressure about you and trying to fit in, so to speak, in this world around us, while you're unique, we don't want to be sticking out all the time.
No, I want to fit in a little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Those cues, specifically coughing and sneezing, like you're saying, is sometimes the worst.
Well, and I think, when we first met, I told you about, like, I go to a lot of musical festivals and a lot of concerts and stuff. And I think a couple weeks after recovery, I went on an emo music cruise, which is a real thing that I spend my money on.
I may have to look that up.
It's so much fun. Okay. Oh my God. But with everything that was going on, I was so nervous and scared. And like, as the day goes on, my voice would get like stressed and tired, and it would sort of settle back into what it was. But this time I was able to just go the entire time where I didn't have to disclose anything. I didn't have to tell anybody, and it didn't make me feel any type of stress or anxiety. I just was able to sort of exist on the boat for a week.
Huh. So you just get to be yourself without
It was
stress.
crazy.
Huh.
Yeah. I didn't know you could.
Yeah, that's a brand new concept.
I know.
No, unfortunately, it's not. It's what most of us
It's what seemed
get
like
to
everybody
experience.
did. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But too many, particularly in our gender diverse community, just that is a dream that doesn't seem real.
It's so small, but you don't realize, like, at the end of the day, you're like, oh, I didn't have to focus on my voice for the entire day and make sure it sounded right, and I was controlling it, and I was aware of everyone I was talking to at all times and how I sounded. It just was a weight I didn't know I carried every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when it's lifted,
It was so much easier. Just move through the world.
how do you hope? And again, we talked about this a little bit. Want to leave politics so out of this because, politics will come and go. But let's talk about society in general. Like, what's your hope for how society's thoughts and approaches hopefully will evolve over the next many years?
I hope that trans women and trans men will be at least able to talk about the surgeries and stuff.
Yes.
And maybe have at least a little seat at the table to talk. But just, people regret things all the time, but the amount of gender affirming surgeries that people regret is so low that it's shocking. And it always seems like they're like, you didn't think about this, or you didn't. And this is something I want in my personal life is, like, my family was like, you're just rushing and you're getting all this stuff. And it's like, no, we've planned it. We've thought about it for our entire lives. We know exactly what we want to do. And it seems fast to you, but it actually is like so slow. Like, most of the regret I have about transitioning is not starting it sooner. That's it. So I would like that to change.
I love it. Thank you for that. When we talked specifically, when we first had a chance to meet and talk about your voice, we talked about how this was something that you never wanted to risk, the voice. Can you share with us a little bit about that process?
Well, okay. There's not a lot of information about the surgery online.
Yes.
And like, I think I've told you, like, I have friends that I've told, and they know you because there's just no one else too that they were like have been able to find information about. There's almost like no recordings. It's just, you hear nightmare stories from years ago of people who are like, well, I couldn't talk ever above a whisper, and you just hear these like outcomes, and it just was a little scary. But then, I mean, you just kind of, like, I don't want to say you like kind of just set me straight, but you were like, oh no, you're dumb. Like, I feel like is what you said. Your eyes said it. Your voice said that's not going to happen.
The information is so outdated.
Yes, it was.
It's so outdated that when we're, let's say, discussing anything else, particularly within science, whether, again, we were talking about vaccines, there's so many things that the science is so far ahead of where other people might be thinking. That was the conversation, which is like, your information doesn't belong in this decade, not really even in this millennia.
No, and you explained it like I was joking. You weren't mean at all. Well, you were, but in the right way, like the way I like it. I'm like, oh please, okay.
Oh my goodness.
But no, you explained it, and then I've explained it to people after when you went through the aftercare, like when we did that horrible thing through my nose.
Yes,
and you took
that
pictures.
was horrible.
Oh, it sucked.
Yeah.
But you took a picture and you just showed it to me, and you were like, this is what your vocal cords would look like if you were born cis.
Right.
And like, it was that simple. Like, I was like, I didn't know that really, like, this was the outcome that we were going to, like, on a biological level. And it was so simple. And I've had a lot of gender affirming surgeries, and this was the easiest one in terms of you guys getting it approved, scheduling, recovery, and then actually aftercare. Every single thing was the easiest part of it. And like, I mean, I've had other surgeries that have taken a year to heal or 2 years to heal, and this one was like a couple of weeks I was talking again.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. For me, which obviously is not very important, but for me, I feel very lucky because in surgery, when we say this a lot, we're always trying to find the biggest impact for the smallest cost to you. And this surgery, this vocal fem surgery, we're talking a few millimeters, right? Maybe 12, maybe 15 at the most that we're adjusting, and we're getting the world.
I mean, I got there at 7 and I was home at 10:30. Like, and was out of it, but I didn't have to take any pills. I didn't have to take anything at all, and I just didn't talk for a couple of weeks. And you're welcome, world, for me not talking for that amount of time, because I usually don't.
We got to make up
stop.
for lost time now. That's exactly what we're going to do.
But it's like, and that's the thing too, where when I've been telling friends about it, they're like, but isn't the recovery like months of not talking? And it's like, it was 2 weeks.
Yes.
And honestly, I don't even think I physically could have made sound with the vocal cords being like, you Botoxed them and everything.
Botox
Like,
the vocal cords.
I don't think I could have done anything. And there's a million apps. I made my voice. I was able to talk as like Selena Gomez for a while, like using an app. Like, that's fun to me.
Right. Yeah. The text to speech is critical to get through. Listen, that voice rasp period for anyone, particularly someone who's as outgoing as you are, is extremely difficult. But yeah, you get through it. And 2 weeks is long, but it's not that long.
It wasn't that long. And the hardest part was this is so stupid. I talked to my dog a lot during the workday.
Yeah.
Because I work from home and she's just a stupid idiot. And so I talked to her.
Friends are there to...
I'm fine with not talking to them. But my dog, it was really hard. But when she heard my new voice, she actually hid under the bed because she didn't recognize who I was. And I hadn't spoken to her in a couple weeks. And then it took me a while of like coaxing her out of the bed before she was fine again.
That's crazy.
Okay,
I did not know that. That's awesome.
Okay, I'll tell you after how she. Okay, I'll tell you now. When I had facial feminization surgery, I got picked up from the hospital. She crawled in my lap and looked in my face, and then she turned and projectile vomited.
No.
And I was like, "That's how bad I look right now."
Oh,
My best friend in the world just threw
That's
up
it.
in a rental car.
just looking at you.
Ugh. Yeah, I almost got rid of her that day.
I know. No. She's walking on thin ice there. That's exactly right.
I've never forgiven her for it.
That's pretty, again, that's pretty transformative.
It
to
was.
talk about.
It was. And friends were like, I can barely, like, it's so subtle, but they're like, I don't see you the same way I saw you before.
We were going to do this later, but I think this is a perfect time to potentially share your recording from before.
Yes.
And because I think what you just said regarding it's a subtle change, but it's a foundational and critical change. So,
and can I just say one thing? That was one of the main reasons why I went with you is we had just a fun conversation and it was great and I laughed a lot, but I didn't want a whole new voice. I wanted my voice. And you had said when you were describing what the outcome was going to be, it was the exact same thing. I didn't want to buy a whole new voice out of the box.
Yeah,
I just wanted me.
I have nothing. I love this.
When the sunlight strikes raindrops in the air, they act as a prism and form a rainbow. The rainbow is a division of white light into many beautiful colors. These take the shape of a long, round arch with its path high above and its two ends apparently beyond the horizon.
Well, the point
Don't
of
like that last part.
No. And I appreciate your bravery in allowing me to share that, because I would do that much worse if I had to. But thankfully,
I just don't know how to do it.
No, I know. That's why we always do it right before we ask you to record it, so that we all sound silly.
Thank you.
But what you see is we magically don't start the recording until after we're done sounding silly.
Weird
just
how
so
that
only
works.
you
Yeah.
get to sound silly.
No. Sucks that technology stops working like that every time.
So what I hear in that voice that we played from so many months ago is it's still you, it's still Baeleigh, but that type of voice leaves you at risk for frequent misgendering.
And panic
Yes.
and stress. Even take the external stuff, I am in my head all day about that voice.
Well, it's also not you.
No, it doesn't sound like me, and I'm a lot.
Yeah. And so when you think about someone who had that voice, and you know this is something that needs to be addressed, so that I really can, whether it's the email festivals, whether it's some significant professional responsibilities that you have, whether again this is just internal, just you at home, whether or not the dog's there or not.
Yeah. She's
All of those things are critical. How did you kind of build up that confidence to say, all right, let's do this?
I think I reached out to you right after I got back from Las Vegas for a trip, and I had intense vocal fry, and I was like, okay, this is what my voice sounds like when I'm tired. I had no energy to like maintain it. It was just gone, and I had two versions of the same day. I had a half where my voice, I was able to control it, and it was different. I was having so much fun, and then in the next half, I was like on edge the entire time. And it was like, it's not like the clock strikes and then all of a sudden it just happens gradually over the day where I'm now, in a way, looking over my shoulder and making sure I'm not saying something that's going to be wrong. And leaving politics out of it, it's not as safe now for trans women as it has been in the past, which it's never been super safe. But like it matters if somebody hears it and they react the wrong way, and it just changed the way I actually was able to like have fun and joy. And so I got back and I had already like done my due diligence and like looked up who I was going to go with and why. And then I just reached out and I spoke to my therapist, I spoke to my friends and everybody in my life that I wanted to get their input. And everyone was like, you just want to do this for you. So I pulled the trigger and I went with you guys. And then I love her.
Oh my God.
She's a doll.
So yeah, we're the only two people on the camera right now, which is a shame.
I know.
But
She's a treasure.
as you should testify to the fact that this is a team.
I mean, she was so excited when I got approved and when you guys got me scheduled that it made me even more excited for the surgery.
Yeah.
And then she tolerated me on the phone for a lot.
We have a fantastic team, and
Everybody was so great.
that's the only way it works. That's the only way it works.
Even on the surgery day, like anesthesiologist, everybody was able to meet me where I'm at, which when I get nervous, I talk a lot and I talk loud and I joke and I try to like deflect, and everybody was able to just sort of let me do that.
Right.
And I never felt like on edge. Like the surgery, it was so fast, I couldn't believe it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the team was great.
Yay. Our team is awesome. I know we're trying to keep it positive.
Yeah.
I think we're doing a great job.
I think so.
But I would like to ask, however, with that in mind,
Let's get dark.
let's just get a little gray. What's maybe one or two things that you maybe wish you would have known before the surgery? Like, that would have been great to know. Or
I don't have anything.
I'm not stayed in the light.
I'm not just saying that because you're here. Like, it's not like I'm going to get off camera and be like,
I don't
well.
think you're ever going to be like too ashamed to speak. Your
Not to
mind.
you.
Yeah,
No,
right.
definitely not.
Yeah,
No.
that's not gonna happen.
Yeah, to like my therapist,
Right.
of course, but no.
That's important.
No, every time I've had a gender affirming surgery, I've gone into it, and before the surgery, there's always the question, do you have any last questions? Is there anything else you want to know? And I have never gone into where I was like, oh, I wish I had known. Like, there's never once been a time. Everyone's been so thorough, so clear, and so honest about what the outcome and expectation should be that, like, I've never felt let down from a surgery. I've never felt like I got my expectations or my hopes too high. I felt like during recovery, I knew exactly what to do and what was going to happen. And then same thing when I started meeting with like speech therapists after, is at no point was I like, I thought it was going to be different. I was shocked how good it was, because I was like, I couldn't imagine it was going to be as good as it was. Right. So, yeah.
Amazing.
Yep.
Okay, so
we didn't get dark, babe.
we didn't, which is wonderfully surprising. Because surgery is always surgery.
Yeah.
So let me try to
You really want to
twist
get
that.
dark with this
Well,
today.
I want to be informative.
That's fair.
But no, we are staying away from like real dark places, which we can go.
It's not hard to find them.
It's actually not that difficult. I think what you described is more a compliment to who you are and your preparedness and your.
Thank you.
I think that's, and obviously we try to do our best. But let's say you had a friend who was considering this and they're ready to go, and all the decisions are made. Day before the surgery, they're like, "Hey, what do I need to know?" Are there's like one or two pearls that maybe you can share with someone who didn't do that homework?
I would honestly, the biggest one is the speech therapist is getting out of it what you put into it. Yes. And when they give you homework and they tell you to do these things, is actually doing them. Because on weeks when I didn't versus weeks when I did, the difference was crazy noticeable. And so I was like, okay, well, obviously, like, it's the same thing. Like, I have to put in the work too. Like, it's not like it's going to be immediately where it needs to be. And so that was the big one, is just like, okay, I need to commit to this part of it. And all the suggestions. So nebulizing and like staying hydrated and doing all of these extra things just was a part of how I had to recover for a while.
I love that. I think many times I hear that speech therapy or voice therapy for our goals, for our gender-affirming goals, is like a sentence that they have to just fill out, and they're just going to do it to make someone else happy. But that buy-in it's all the magic that's there.
I will tell you, was that person. Yes.
That's okay.
I was like, I got to check this box, babe.
Right.
And then, but I realized like, oh, no, when I practice and I work on my voice, it actually sounds different. And it's becoming easier to do those things that I learned in speech therapy.
Yeah. I mean, there are two main things. I mean, one is obviously focusing on those aspects that people subconsciously listen to when they're trying to assign gender, which we can talk about that, whether that's really necessary, but I think that's part of the human condition. But the second thing is just doing healthy vocal exercises and techniques and hygiene, which is important for anyone.
Yeah.
So you get both of those.
I learned a lot about how to keep my voice nice.
There you go.
That was the thing that
Proof's
I didn't.
Proof's in the pudding. Proof's in the pudding. Okay. Let's go to maybe just some lighter questions, and then we're gonna kind of bring it on home with some messages to the world.
Take me on a journey, babe.
Exactly.
Let's do it. I'm just glad I'm tall enough to ride.
Makes one of us. What would you, Baeleigh, going back and you talked about the process kind of through kind of adolescence. What might be something you'd like to go back and tell the younger Baeleigh?
Ooh, I'm gonna not go dark with it.
Yeah, let's stay.
Yeah.
But we can.
Don't do your 20s, I guess is what I would tell her. But yeah, college could have been a different experience. No, I wish I would have transitioned earlier, but I think I would tell her just to trust the process, that everything ended up where it needed to be, exactly when it needed to be it. And I'm here now, and
You're rocking it.
I like my life now, and that's kind of where I ended up. So trusting the process. It seems like it sucks at times, and then it got way better.
That's amazing. Thank you for that. What does trans joy mean to you? Like, how do you?
Great question. And I can say that because I spent last year defining what joy was for me. I would say the biggest thing of trans joy has been not thinking about, of being able to just present however I am that day. Is if I'm having a messy day and I look like absolute trash, like I want to have those days. I don't want to have to stress and like try to always be the best. Trans joy's just been a settling into just life and just living how I want to live. And like a great way. Like I go to a lot of music shows, a lot of concerts, and all of the bands I'm seeing are bands I saw when I was younger and before I transitioned, and I'm getting to remake those memories, and I'm getting to re-experience all of this music that I liked. But I'm alive, and that's trans joy, I think. And especially now with everything that's going on, like I'm still alive and still doing fun and still having good times and not letting it win.
Yeah, this is the definition of winning.
Yeah.
That's how I see it. I love that.
And I'm not even playing the game.
Exactly. That's exactly right. That's exactly, without playing, you're winning. That's impressive.
That's how I win.
Yeah.
That's how you always
Yeah, I was about
win.
to say most people have to play. Like,
Undefeated,
I'm
babe.
not even not even worried about that. Oh my goodness gracious. All right, a fun one. Being a music fan, if you could pick one song title, or maybe it's a book title, to kind of describe your own journey, specifically your gender journey.
I mean, it's only one that's stuck in my head right now is Misery
it.
Business.
love
It's
it.
because I was just
I
listening
love
to it
that.
in the car on the way here.
There's no coincidences.
No, and I love Paramore.
that.
Yeah,
Who doesn't love Paramore?
bad people,
Yeah, or
Yeah.
they just
degenerates.
they haven't spent the time with Paramore the way that they need to.
One way.
Yeah.
Yeah, bad people.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Hilarious. Okay, I'm gonna wrap it up with saying, let's focus on the message to the gender diverse community. What is Baleigh's message to that community?
Selfish isn't a bad word. And choosing to do something for yourself doesn't make you a bad person or selfish or not caring about other people. That right now, finding any avenue in any way to live how you want to live and do it as loudly and as openly as you can is the best way forward right now. Crushed it. Crushed it, babe.
Oh my God.
Ugh, I didn't even plan that. That was cuffing it.
That's what I'm
Ugh.
saying. That's why
Love
it was amazing. I don't know what else to say.
I don't either.
I think we just totally demolished that.
10 out of 10 notes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're welcome, world.
So proud of us. They said we couldn't do it too.
No, I know. There's a lot of doubters out there.
Rude, if anything.
I mean, listen, hey.
I would ask for her manager, but he's right here.
No, she is the manager. All right. Let's give a sign off.
Sounds good. Thank you so much for doing this.
You're amazing.